right, Rio here. Hey, it is week 7, coming into week 7, as we are used to doing in this class, coming into the week ahead, or recording the week of. So, a couple things I'm going to mention, and then I'll get right into what you're going to be doing for week 7 and 8, actually. But I want to make just a comment, and by the way, you're taking notes right now, on two conversations I've had, one through email and one face to face, and one through not necessarily email, sorry, through grading. So a student was, and it doesn't matter who. Honestly, this is not about this particular student. It's really more about the comment that was made. And I thought it would be good to clarify since we're now into the part of this class where I'm actually having you do stuff like code along. And the comment was they felt like that was busy work. And I get that. I get how instructors, sometimes you feel like we give busy work. But honestly, for this class, actually getting in there and coding is muscle memory that you're building even if you know how to do it. Just the more time you spend doing it is helpful. And so that's really what I wanted to say to that to anyone is that this, and the other reason I'm doing it this way, honestly, this time is that I noticed last time when I taught this class last semester, the students, I didn't make them do the HTML essential training with Code Along. And when we got to the bootstrap and ultimately when we got to the project, they really missed some really important concepts. And I just think this is a way I'm trying to make that more real. And so just this is true for anyone, right? And I think most of you did it last semester, but our last week when we had the code along. So, but that's why. And the second comment I got was from a student who came to see me. And again, it doesn't matter who it is. I just appreciate the conversation about what's working and what's not. And it was really about being authentic in the discussion boards. And I think that's a really important topic. You know, when we're doing classes online, the way we interact is through discussion boards. And the student felt like they were just BSing. And I'm like, well, at one level, we are working on a BS degree, right? And I don't mean Bachelor of Science, but yeah, I might mean Bachelor of Science, right? But you know what I mean. And so, the point is that we all need to strive to be authentic because that's, and in whatever what that looks like, whether it's writing a discussion board, interacting with people, whatever it is, I really appreciated the conversation again because it really made me start thinking about, am I doing our class justice by maybe not being more involved in the discussions and but I read your stuff. I read your stuff when I grade. But anyway, so it's good. It was a reflective moment. So the other thing about this, and this is where I'll kind of jump off and move over to the conversation about, what's going on this week, was really about, coding does help you too in your focus, your ability to stay on task and get something done. Like today, I needed to pick up on my Visual Basic skills because I just don't really code ever in Visual Basic. And I spent a good part of the day just immersing myself into these concepts, and it was really good. And I didn't want to do anything else. And really, the key is to get to that place where you want to do that. So anyway, part of this class, important part of this class, please don't skip it. I think you'll regret it, unless you already have skill and you've justified why. That's fine too. I think, and what I really want you to walk away with on this discussion is about I appreciate feedback. I really do. Actually, the third conversation I had with a student was really excited about what some of the concepts that we're covering in this class and frustrated by just some other classes that may not be meeting their expectations. And what I would say to everyone is that happens not just in school but in life. And learning how to navigate those situations is a skill. So I know it may feel like sometimes it's a chore. But I can tell you some of the most challenging courses I've had, and I don't mean necessarily from what you did, but just navigating the way the class was run was something I walked away with learning something new, and some of it was just learning what I needed to do. So I hope that for all of you. Okay, enough of the talk. So we're at week 7, so let's take a look because I'm going to do something a little different than I did last semester in this coming week. All right, so in our course, what I've done here, we're on our last week of Code Along for here. And then I want you to do two things on your hands-on. I want you to level up with your editor because what I had said is that, you don't have to do Sublime, which is fine. But if you use something else, then you're going to need to look ahead and find some content for your editor of choice. So if you're using Sublime, there's going to be a lynda.com for week 8 for you in the lecture. But even you who have Sublime can choose an hour of content, right? So here's the idea. You might find 3 videos. You don't have to watch them all right now. You just have to find ones that you feel based on your skill level you would benefit from the time watching the material and leveling up on your skills, okay? And and in this case, right, anyway, we'll talk about the lecture for 8 in a second, but I hopefully you got that. So level up. So if you have a different editor, go find some content that you are going to consume in week 8. And if you're in Sublime Text, either know that you'll be using this one, which it's just a little bit dated, 2013, and there's been a new version of Sublime Text. So, if you want to go there, you can do that as well. But just find the content that you're going to consume, really, is what I'm looking for. And it's good to give links because it might help other people with ways that you can't even imagine. So the other thing is, last week I showed you how to set up your GitHub IO page. So this week, and I'm not going to give you a lot of instruction here because this is really what you're learning, right? And I may add some more here, and I should add an image here, but add some content, add a heading, add a unordered list, add a list item, and some color to your page, something. Make it look more than what just we had it last week. Because coming into week 8, we're actually going to, I think, we'll see, actually take these and make them a local repo. Okay. So anyway, we'll get there. Oh, and the other thing is, this is actually came up in another class, is that if you want, you can make these things collapse up so that you don't have to once we get through those weeks. Now, don't do this if you still need to get through those weeks, but this just makes navigating our class a little bit easier, right? So that's what you need to do on the hands-on for this week. On the current topics, we have a video that I always like to show that's more of like the impact of the web on us. And this is a little dated, but man, it something that I really see. Anyway, I'll be interested in your comments on this one, right? So this is one of those things where you watch the video, right? And you just make comments about its content and, anyway, so that's and again going back to the idea of being authentic, right, in this. Okay, so then for next week, for week 8, which I will go ahead and publish here, although it will be subject to change, is that idea of up and running with Sublime. And if you've chosen something different here, you will be using your lecture material from that. And then we talk about semantic versioning, a really important topic of software versioning, and we get into the idea of creating your first repo maybe and your local repo, and what we'll do is copy the one that you've already created. So this last time in week 8 I did a little differently. I actually had the students create a local repo, but we're going to do it a little differently. So when you get here, by the time you get GIT here, this will look differently because I'm going to have you clone, because I have students using GitHub right now. And I really found a better way to have students set this up, right? And I might end up here actually just getting you ready to do the repo itself. We'll see. So anyway, that's your week 7 and then week 8. And then it's really also, as I look ahead, CEO, we need to start talking about Project Zero pretty soon. And this is a really important part of our class, from not just what you've gotten, but from the grade perspective. And you might want to check that out. And if you're behind on work, you really need to get caught up, because every week it's just harder and harder to get caught up if you get behind. All right, is there anything else? Let's see. No, I don't think so. Several of you have talked to me about DevFest. By the time you've listened to this, might be too late to get your t-shirt, but it's not too late to get your tickets, right? It's going to be a really fun day. So I hope to see some of you there. Let's see, I think that's it. So have a great weekend. I'm going to see Michio Kaku tonight being week 6 on a Wednesday. I'm really excited about seeing it. And Richard Stallman, who is really the father of open source, is going to be at Clovis next week, the 27th it's a Tuesday. I don't know if I'll get out to go, but definitely if I was one of you and I happen to be close over there, I'd check that out. I think it's worth seeing a legend. A true legend in our industry. All right, peace out. Have a great week.